Hello, my fellow Americans. This is A Quiet Rage. I'm going to start tonight, as I have many times before, speaking to those of you who voted for Trump. I'm going to put a truth, I guess that's what you call a post on Truth Social, up on the screen for you. We're gonna read along together. Here it is. I'm not gonna do his voice because I don't want that taste in my mouth. Any person or company investing $1 billion or more in the United States of America will receive fully expedited approvals and permits, including, but in no way limited to, all environmental approvals. Get ready to rock. Setting aside that that's not legal, I posted this on my personal Facebook page, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it here as well. If you think that what he's proposing, getting rid of the approval process to include environmental approvals for large projects, large companies doing large things, if you think that that's a good idea, you owe me, by the end of next week, a 3-page paper. You can choose your topic for this paper, but it has to be one of these. Why was the Clean Water Act of 1970 necessary? Why was the Clean Air Act of 1970 necessary? Why and how were the buffalo herds of the western United States slaughtered in the late 1800s to make room for the railroads? The whys and hows there. And another that I forgot to put on my Facebook post, but you could also just give me a short synopsis of the novel The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Specifically the meatpacking industry as the safety record. If you haven't read The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, it's just the things that went into the meat that people actually ate would curl your toes. Anyway, the point is that large corporations, large companies, billionaires, they have no moral imperatives. This is why I, personally, am against a laissez-faire approach to industry, to economics, because large companies, to whom are they beholden? What is their goal? Their goal is to maximize profits for themselves, for their CEOs, for the C-level executives, and for the shareholders. There's no moral imperatives there whatsoever. If a large company, a large corporation, a billionaire happens to behave in a moral way, well, we got lucky today. We need regulations to keep these companies and these people from doing horrible things. And they still try. We have regulations, and they still try and do them. It's a never-ending battle. But I just wrote your report. I just wrote the end of your report for you. Anyway. For like-minded people like myself who did not vote for Trump and or voted for Harris, and I forgot to talk about what those two individuals were doing on Thanksgiving. Kamala Harris was volunteering at a shelter, giving meals to underprivileged people, and Donald Trump, was at Mar-a-Lago sitting at a table with his billionaire buddy, Elon Musk, feeling really good about himself and helping exactly 0 people that weren't at least sitting at that table with him. But I digress. For those of us who are enraged by what we see Trump doing and saddened and disappointed by the fact that we're going to have to fight fascism, resist fascism for 4 years with him as president. For you today, 3 things. 1, do yourself a favor when you are going about your business on the interwebs. Avoid the clickbait. I'm seeing a lot of YouTube headers saying things like, so and so slams Trump for whatever. Dems should have done this. You'll be angry when you see number 5, whatever. Stay away from that clickbait. Don't reward that behavior. I am doing my best to present my personal opinion and, where I can, facts that I have researched in a measured tone. I'm not trying. Yes, the name of this channel is A Quiet Rage, but the quiet part is doing a lot of lifting in that. I said from the start, I don't condone violence of any sort. Resisting fascism, in this case, in this era, hopefully, doesn't involve violence. I don't want it to involve violence. My point is, I'm trying to be measured and calm and collected and nuanced voice regarding said resistance and what we are seeing the Trump administration doing, planning to do, and eventually doing. So stay away from the clickbait for your own mental health. It's not gonna, even if it's coming from left sources, if it's clickbait, don't reward that behavior. This is one of the final days of NPR, National Public Radio's winter fund drive. So if you've got a couple of bucks, maybe throw it to NPR, local NPR station. If you know anything about Project 2025, NPR is on their list of things they don't like. They want to defund NPR, which most of NPR's funding comes from sources other than the federal government. So is that really a big deal? That's more of a symbolic thing. And it even says that in Project 2025, which I have not read all of, but I have read some of, and it states plainly that they don't expect that would actually do anything. It's more of a symbolic thing. Just not having the federal government subsidizing what they think is lefty propaganda, even though most assessments that I've seen place NPR much closer to the center than either side. It leans left, sure, but they're close to the center. They're balanced. They're fair. They're fact-based. And journalism, I don't know if you know this, journalism is going through it right now. And that's before the Trump administration version 2 gets in and starts going after journalists that they don't like. We saw examples of what they did towards the end of Trump version 1, trying to ban who was it? Not Jake Tapper. Was it Jake Tapper? It was a CNN guy. It might have been Jake Tapper. Anyway, tried to take a microphone back from an aide, and then they claimed that he assaulted her, which was right there on camera. All he did was take the camera, or take the microphone. Anyway, I digress. We got to support journalists who are actually doing good work, and in my estimation, NPR is one of them. And the third thing is, I think you should do what I myself have done and find your local Democratic organization, big D Democratic organization. There is a local Democratic Party organization that is here in my city. I reached out to them, I made a donation, and I'm going to the next meeting in January wherein my application for membership will be considered, and I'm going to be there to hear what is said and hopefully be a participant after that. What that's all going to entail, what I'm exactly going to be doing, am I going to be knocking on doors, making phone calls? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm gonna be available to do my part. And I would encourage you, if you have the time, do that as well. It's not just the presidency that we need to worry about. It's not just the federal government that we need to be worried about. We also need to be worried about local politics. All politics is local. That's where it starts. We need to be concerned about and paying attention to school boards and city councils and your local state government, your counties, your state government, etc. So get involved. If you don't have the time, if you don't have the money right now, okay. But keep it in the back of your mind that we need to be ready come midterm time, right? We can't wait 4 years to get involved again. If this election taught us anything, it taught us many things. But one of the things it certainly should have taught us was we need to be involved. I said in a previous video, and the logo of my channel is the yard sign that I still have out in my front yard that says, I'm a veteran, not a sucker or a loser. And that's staying there. And that's, okay, let me add a fourth thing. Be visible and be vocal. Because I think talking to some of my friends around the country, especially in areas where Trump is more popular, rural areas, farming communities, etc., where you see a lot of Trump signs in front yards, you see the bumper stickers on cars and trucks, you see the giant obnoxious flags. It seems like we're outnumbered. It seems like we're surrounded. That's not the case. There are just as many, if not more, of us than there are of them. So that's one of the reasons my yard sign is going to stay out there. That's one of the reasons I got that hoodie that I wore last week, the shirt that says I dissent. Right? You don't have to be in people's faces, but you can be present and remind people, like-minded people and otherwise, that we're still here. And especially for like-minded folks, that you're not alone. I don't know how many... I was worried what kind of reaction I would get about that sign and my Harris Walls sign when I put them in my yard. But the people that actually spoke to me about them, the response was positive. And a couple of people actually even said, we didn't put a sign up because we've seen, you see a lot of Trump signs, and you're like, well, I don't want people. If those people are my neighbors, I don't want them looking at me like I'm other. Well, it takes all of us showing the rest of us you are not other. There are people who feel just the way you do. So, keep your powder dry. If you feel the same way I do, keep that quiet rage. I'm going to be off the next 2 weeks for the holidays, and I got family coming to town. So I'll be back after the first of the year. And we'll see you then.